story.
Go for it.
By the way, I had no idea it involved Italians or suits, so I'm coming in.
Oh, you're coming in fresh.
Pitch
You're
black.
coming. I mean, that's all she knows. She doesn't know anything about it.
I
Okay,
just
that's
know,
good,
He
that's
just
good.
said Italian suits and something about a PlayStation.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Those are 3 words. Isra, let me tell you. 3 words. Italian suits.
And the PlayStation.
You're in.
I was like, you're in, buddy.
I don't need to hear anymore. I'll make a WhatsApp group right now. Yeah. So Italian suits. So a few years ago, I used to work in Jebel Ali, and I don't know if you guys know, but every time it would rain in Dubai, especially in Jebel Ali, the roads would flood, and they would send us home early from work.
Which is the best.
Which is the best. I mean, it felt like I was back in middle school.
Yeah.
Get on the school bus, children, go home. So around 11 o'clock in the morning, it starts raining heavily, and then all of our bosses were like, let's just go home.
Oh, I love
Otherwise, we're going to be stuck here for the whole day. I'm like, great. So got into my car, driving home, and I decided to stop by Mall of the Emirates to get something.
You weren't phased by the rain?
No.
Are you a risk taker like that?
No, I have a truck, so I can drive through anything. It doesn't matter.
Cool.
So I pull up to Mall of the Emirates, get inside, do whatever I needed to do, and the parking was empty. So I come out, and as I'm coming out, I see like a Nissan or like a Japanese car like hovering around my truck. Okay. My truck was by itself. So I'm getting closer, and at the time I was wearing, remember those stupid polo shirts with the country flags on them?
For sure. I know that.
Yeah, I mean, that time everybody was either Italian, Cuban, or French. But so that day I was wearing the French one. and then I see, old colonizer.
That day I was Jacques Brel.
I was Olivier, Olivier Mustafa. So the guy in the car that was hovering around my truck opens up his window. And as I'm walking towards him, he starts yelling out of the car, "Hey, sei Italiano?" I'm like, huh? He's like, "Sei Italiano?" I'm like, I don't understand what you're saying. He's like, sorry, I think you're Italian. You are wearing the flag. I'm like, no, this is the French flag. and then he's like, sorry, from far it looked like a Italian flag. So he parks his car and he gets out. He's like,
good conversation starter for him, though.
Yeah.
The flag?
Yeah, for sure. And then he gets out of the car and then he's like, which way to the aeropuerto? I'm like, you were just on a highway called Sheikh Zayed Road, weren't you? And he's like, yes. I'm like, just get back on it and drive straight. You'll end up at the airport eventually.
Yeah.
He's like, okay. What's your name?
Oh, wait, hold on. Is he this comically Italian?
He was like overly stereotypically Italian. It was you have no idea how like confused I was the entire situation.
Like, is this like a Mickey Mouse movie or something?
It's like talking to Super Mario but in a suit. It was ridiculous.
So he's wearing a suit.
He's wearing a suit.
He's like young, old.
He's like in his 40s.
Okay.
In his 40s. And
he needs to get to the airport.
Yeah, he needs to get to the airport. So he's like, what's your name? I'm like, my name's Othman. And he's like, Othman. I'm like, sure.
Money.
He's like, my name. He's like, my name Alessandro. He's like, what do you do? I'm like, I work for a marketing company. He's like, okay. He's like, I'm fashion designer. I'm like, okay, cool. He's like, where are you from? I'm from Morocco. He's like, Morocco. I'm like, yeah. He's like, I'm Italian. I'm like, great. Good for you. Great. So as you say this, I gathered by the comically stereotypical accent.
He's going to bust out some linguine or something.
I wasn't expecting you to say Lithuania. So he's like, I'm Italian. So he gives me his card. He gives me a business card. And I found that weird because it's like purple and it has his name written on it in bold. And then right underneath his name, it just says fashion designer in italics. And it has a bunch of high-end Italian luxury names hovering around the name. Like none of them are straight. Like they're all spelt wrong. Like all in lowercase, and it was really weird. I'm
Well, like
this is-
Gucci, Dolce,
like
and
Gucci with an H and like Xenia with NG instead of GNA. So I look at this card and I turn it around and it's printed on Fujifilm photo paper. So I'm like, okay, this is.
You're like, okay, this is where the money's at.
I'm like, okay, I need to get me a Fujifilm photo printer and make
So
up positions.
He's trying to say all these brands around my name are brands that I associate with. As
Exactly.
An international
Alessandro,
Italian.
international fashion designer for Zegna, Gucci with an H, and Versace with an H as well. So he's got like a bunch of these names. He's like, okay. So he gives it to me. He gives me his business card, and I'm like looking at it. I'm like, okay, great. And he's like, and then he starts telling me, I here for a fashion expo in the trade center. You know the trade center? I'm like, yeah, I know the trade center. He's like, yes, we have a fashion expo. I'm a fashion designer. I was like, yeah, your card says.
Why are you still hanging around? Like,
I
what's
don't
going
know.
on?
I really wanted to go home. My mom made a good meal, and I wanted to go eat it. Like he's keeping me from couscous. So anyway, like I'm still sticking around, and he's like, yes, I hear the fashion expo in the trade center. I'm like, okay, cool. And then he just looks at me and he's like, what size are you are? I'm like, I don't know. He's like a 48, 50. I'm like, I don't know. I've literally never had a suit. He's like, I think you're a 48. So he opens the trunk of his car and he's literally got like 30 suits in there.
What?
Like 30 suits
Yeah,
in
this
their
guy's
dust
scamming,
bags.
yo.
In his in dust bags. And then he whips out the first one and he opens the dust bag, hangs it off the trunk of his car. And it was gray with pinstripes. And he's like, look at this. They're very nice. It's a gray. It's a wool and silk. But I noticed that whenever he's opening up the suit jacket, he's never letting me see the tag for long enough.
Yeah.
Because it's just some knockoff brand. So he does that. He gets another suit out. It's blue with pinstripe. He's like, it's a very nice silk. And he's just talking about this blue suit. And then he whips out another one.
All silk, of course.
Of course, all silk. All silk. And then he whips out a third suit. And it's a black one. Again, the same spiel of, oh, it's very nice. Wool and silk. And I'm like, great. Can I please just go home? Why are you showing me these suits? And he's like, it's too much for me to take to Italy. I have to pay for the overweight baggage and the customs. I have 30 suits. I give you for free. Gratitude. I'm like, okay.
No.
Like,
No.
no, yeah. He's like, he's offering me these suits for free because he claims that in the airport he's going to be overweight with his luggage and he has to pay money to take them back, so he doesn't need them.
As he's done with his international expo.
He's done with the International Expo at the Trade Center that nobody's ever heard of.
And he has such great gratitude for you
Yeah.
for showing him where the airport is that he's decided to give you 30 suits.
By telling him, get back on the same road you were already on and drive straight, he's so grateful that he wants to give me 3 suits.
Wait, 3?
Yeah, so he pulled out 3 and he wanted to give me
Okay.
3. So in the trunk he had like 30, like a ton of suits.
All silk, of course.
Also, wool and silk.
Oh,
Yeah,
ooh.
woven,
Okay.
interwoven. So I'm like, okay. So he zips them up. He hands them to me. And I'm standing there in a leaking Mall the Emirates parking because it's raining, hungry, don't know what the hell is going on. And I have 3 suits in my hand. And I was like, thanks. And I'm literally about to turn to walk away and get into my truck. And he's like, but now I need something from you.
Of course.
Oh.
Of course.
And I'm like,
The tables have turned.
oh, yeah, the Italian tables have turned. I'm like, oh, shit, what do you want? And he's like, these suits are very expensive. They are 4,000, 5,000 dirhams each. I'm like, okay, thank you. He's like, I have a son, and he likes a PlayStation. I'm like,
What a transition.
I was like, okay. I mean, that was the worst transition from Bruce to Caitlyn Jenner I've ever seen in my life. So he's like, yeah, I have a son and he likes a PlayStation. these suits are very expensive. The PlayStation is only 1,600 or 1,800 dirhams. I was like, okay. Like, you buy one for me. I give to my son for the gift. And I was like, I don't have any money on me right now. He's like, it's okay. I don't want the money. You go pay with a card.
What, just like go back in the
Yeah,
mall.
go
and
back in the
buy
mall
an actual
and buy me a PlayStation 4 for my son
now.
right now with your card. I'm like, oh, sorry, I
this
forgot
guy's
my
shameless.
yeah, shameless. I'm like, oh, really sorry, I forgot my my wallet in the office. And he's like, you don't have money. I'm like, no. He's like, you don't have a card. I'm like, no, I don't. He's like, and then he reaches his arms out to take the suits. He grabs the suits. He's like, this is too much for free. I cannot give. And then he takes the suits, puts them back in the trunk of his car, and drives away. I'm like, what the hell just happened? like he was talking about giving them for free, and now he wanted PlayStation. And then that's not the end of it. So literally 7 months later.
Can we pause? Can
Yeah,
we
go
pause?
ahead.
I just want to like kind of analyze why the hell.
Would they do that?
Yeah.
I'll tell you why. When I finish the
Okay,
story, I'll
okay.
tell you.
Okay.
I'll tell you.
Part
I'll
of the
tell,
plot, like
yeah,
part of the
I'll
ending?
tell you exactly why.
Right.
And it actually involves one of our friends. I think you might know him too from AUD, Ali Daher.
Yeah.
He unlocked the key for me.
Okay.
Okay, let's
shout
go
out
back
to
to the
Ali,
story.
shout out.
Yeah,
Ali.
yeah. Shout out to Ali Daher, the other Palestinian Canadian in the house. So 6 or 7 months later, I'm in Ibn Battuta. I go up to the parking, the first, like the upstairs parking of the Chinese court. I'm on a phone call, and it's like it's an angry phone call. Like I'm talking, I think something about work or something like that. Something's not happening right. And then another car pulls up next to me. I'm like, okay, fine. And I see he rolls down his window. And then I roll down my window. I'm like, I tell him I'm on the phone. Give me a second. So it takes me another 15, 20 minutes to finish this phone call, and I'm still sitting in my car.
And the person's still waiting in the other
And he's
car?
still waiting in the other car.
Okay.
And I'm getting angrier, more pissed as the phone call keeps going. And I get down and I go to him, and he's like, hi, which way to the aeropuerto? and at this time, I am so angry. He's still in his car. I bend over, put my head like at the window, and I'm like, listen, I don't want your fucking suits. And you're not getting a fucking PlayStation. So,
Kill your son.
yeah. I'm like, if you don't leave me alone, I'm going to call the cops. And then when I said cops, and he knew that I knew what the whole ruse is all about,
Yeah.
he starts yelling, no. And he puts his car on drive and then floors it out of the parking lot. So, yeah.
I'm just thinking an Italian cartoon.
Yeah, no. I swear to Jamil, I swear to God, like one of his arms was like flailing like an Italian cartoon, and he's like, no cops, and then he just puts it in D and drives.
I can even see like the car driving away from behind.
Like his arm is still no. It's getting quieter as he's driving away. It was hilarious.
Oh, dude. Oh
A
man.
year after that, I'm in TCOM. I shit you not. By the way, these are different people. They're not the same people.
Oh.
It's not the same person,
Same
but it's the same ruse.
Scam,
It's the
yeah.
same scam.
But
So-
like, okay. keep
yeah.
going.
So I'm in TCOM, supposed to go have a meeting in some Damak building. There's no parking, so I park far away and I'm walking. I was in a good mood, luckily for him. So I'm walking, and then some car pulls up next to me, and this like young Italian, pretty good looking guy, like slick hair. The other guys were a bit older. This guy's younger, maybe in his late 20s, early 30s, slick hair, typical Italian. And then he rolls down the windows and he's like, hi, which way to the aeropuerto? And I start laughing, and he's like, you got suits? And I'm like, you got suits for me? And he's like, what? I was like, yeah, you're going to give me a suit and you're going to ask me for a PlayStation in return. He's like, how you know? I was like, it's been done to me before. No thanks. He's like, okay, bye. Ciao. And then he just drives away. So like that, in the space of literally a year and a half, I've been asked by 3 different Italian men where the airport was, and they try to give me suits. So to answer your question, Jamil, about how, like, what their whole thing is.
Yeah.
So like a little bit after that, I was with Adi, and he took me to his family's textile shop in the textile market, and we're sitting there in the old souk, and like literally we're in his store for about a half hour, and then he's like, "Oh, I want to show you something." I'm like, "Cool, what is it?" And then he shows me a bunch of suits. He shows me a bunch of suits that.
Trying to get a PlayStation or what?
Yeah, he had a PlayStation 3. He wanted the 4. No, so he shows me a bunch of suits. He's like, "Oh, check this out. This is really good stuff. We import them from China. China's now making knockoff suits, basically, that look like the Italian stuff." And I'm like, wait a minute. I've seen these before. And even the labels on the inside were identical to the ones that guy showed me at the Mall of the Emirates parking lot. I'm like, Adi, how much do these things cost? He's like, they cost between 50 and 80 dirhams for an entire suit.
Yeah.
So basically what these Italians are doing is that they're trying to give you 200 dirhams worth of suits. So like 3 suits for them is going to be around 200 dirhams at cost. They're trying to get a 1,800 dirham PlayStation 4 at the time. And even if they sell it for half price, that's 800 dirhams, 700-800 dirhams
Profit.
and they're still making a hell of a lot of money from it. So so Dubai had an Italian mafia problem a few years ago that involved the exchange of suits and electronics from Japan. That was. So I asked a friend actually at work. I told them actually this story, and they said, "Oh my God, it happened to my husband in Paris."
In Paris.
In Paris.
International.
So it's an international crime syndicate that exchanges suits for PlayStation 4s.
And you know what? They're using the value of being Italian.
Oh yeah, to legitimize.
Yeah,
Exactly.
to totally give value to.
Can you imagine that mafia meeting? It's like, what are we good at in Italy?
Be more Italian.
Pizza? We exchange a pizza for the PlayStation. No, it's not going to hold in the trunk. Pasta? No, it's not good enough. Fashion. We are very good looking people. Yeah. Like, that meeting must have been great.
Yeah, seriously. It's like, and then they probably go through like this suit man training where they like roll down the window and ask for the airpuerto as Italian as possible. Be more Italian.
So what is the script we will say? We are looking for the mall? No. We are already in the mall asking. No. We want a hotel? No, it's not very likely. Aeropuerto, we want to get out. Yeah,
and it's a good transition into airpuerto. Too much luggage. Everyone can relate to this.
Yes, this is a common problem as humans we share in the aeropuerto. I know you Arabs like to take the olive oil back home with you, so you're all always paying for extra luggage.
So true.
So these guys have checked off so many boxes.
Oh my God, they've done their homework. They're almost as good as the Chinese.
Yeah. But then they do the lovable family man who
my
just
son,
wants to.
I just want a PlayStation for my son.
Papi, please bring me PlayStation.
Little Pietro, he wants a PlayStation. Oh, Giuseppe, you want a PlayStation? Get the fuck out of here, Giuseppe.
It's got all the elements like family man, here for an international expo.
Yeah.
Business cards.
Business card and Fujifilm photo paper.
For some reason can carry a PlayStation, but
cannot
can't
carry suits. Yeah.
3 suits.
I think 3 suits weigh a little bit more than a PlayStation weighs a little bit more than 3 suits.
Sure.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. They didn't do the math on that one though.
They were hoping. They were hoping that the story was good enough.